Hera. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite moving Scarface's favorite nerd. Today we are looking at the latest Black Series wave, half of them anyway, that we'll be looking at here, which is Hera and Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi. Shout out to Crashbox Customs, that's who I ordered this from, and I want to make sure that you know. So that if you're interested, you can buy from them as well. The link will be in the description. But before we do that, you should know this wave isn't the best. And it pains me to say that. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about these two, and then we're going to talk about 3 more on Thursday, just in time for Force Friday. And with that being said, let's get started. So we'll start with Kylo. He comes with this cape, which you know I hate, because it's utterly useless. The only good news about it is you can kind of adjust his hair so that it stands as a clip that kind of holds the cape in. It's sculpted well enough. It's just these plastic capes are like, I hate them. Like Anakin hated the Tusken Raiders. Otherwise, accessory-wise, he comes with 2 lightsabers. One is just the hilt, painted fairly well, and then we have some red details added in. And then the one with the blade extended with the translucent red. It looks good as well, and as you can see, he holds them. Good thing he holds them, because he comes with 2 holding hands. So maybe he can hold the hilt in one, you know, and then the lightsaber in the other, and you can take advantage of both of his holding hands. Another poor decision. All right, let's talk about the figure now. The head sculpt is actually pretty decent, but the paint is not, I mean, it's fine, but I'm just disappointed that they didn't use that digital paint that they've been using on the Marvel Netflix figures and stuff. And my guess is because this Last Jedi stuff has probably been done for some time. They've just been sitting on it until they were allowed to release it, would be my guess. And maybe they didn't have that digital paint stuff kind of under their belt, so to speak, by the time that these were finished. That's me giving them the benefit of the doubt on that. I'm not entirely sure. That would just be my guess. Let's talk about the figure, though, a little bit more. Brown paint on the hair, that's done clean. All the paint on the face is done clean, and the face sculpt is great. There's no shading on the face whatsoever, so the scar isn't picked up at all. It's on a ball hinge. You get down to there and up to there, so not the best either. And then a swivel that works fine. The tunic here is all sculpted well, you know, with the padding, like the Mortal Kombat ninja padding, and then the arm sculpt is done really well as well. And it's even on the joint here, which is pretty cool. All right, so you got disc hinges for shoulders. That gets you 90 degrees out, and then you get all the way around. No bicep swivel per usual, but you do get the swivel at the elbow, plus a single hinge that gets you past 90 degrees, which is pretty well executed. Same for the other side. Wrist swivel and hinge up, down, and this one is a hinge. Is this? I can't tell. Up, down as well. A single ball joint from the pelvis into the torso. And that works really well. And then you have this softer piece that is glued on. That's once again sculpted well. And it does hinder the articulation a bit. But, you know, I don't know. I don't feel like most people put these figures in very dynamic poses. Outside of maybe troopers, maybe. But you get out to there, which is not great. Forward, you get the whole range. So if he does any front kicks, that'll work. Thigh swivel, that's at a cut joint. Double jointed knee. I won't say that's the prettiest I've ever seen, but it works. The boots are a black glossy paint here, and then a black glossy plastic down here. You do get your ankle articulation all the way up. No, not all the way up, but a good bit up. All the way down, which you don't need as much, but the up is nice to have. And then the ankle rocker. And then the back of the figure cleans up fairly well. So all in all, it's effective in the sense of articulation, and the sculpt work is pretty great throughout. I'm just a little bit bummed about the paint. I'm a little bit bummed about the cape, and the accessories are fine, except that you get, you know, one that goes on his belt and one to go in his hand. That's cool, but you get 2 hands to hold them, and that's not cool. I really, really hate decisions like that. It just always takes away from the figure's presence on a shelf. Up next is Hera, and she's probably the best figure from the wave overall. That's not to say she's perfect, but she's really, really, really well executed. She does come with one accessory. That's this gun here. You have silver and gold paint, both on this tiny little gun. And she doesn't hold it great, so that's a bit of a bummer, but she will kind of hold it. It's just, it's not the prettiest, and it's not the It's not the best, but she can do it. And nice enough, she can have it stowed in the little holster there on the ankle, so that's good. The face sculpt is great. The paint is great. Like, it's sharp across the board. It's not that digital paint, but we shouldn't expect that when it comes to an animated character. We have the brown. I think this might be silver, and the brown is painted on. It looks good. And then we have a translucent plastic used for the actually it might be translucent. It's probably translucent plastic total, and the brown and silver is painted on. Gotcha. Took me a minute to figure that out, but we got there. It's all good. And then we have this head, like the under helmet bit there, and that's all sculpted well and painted well. And then we have her tentacles. We have the design painted on there. That's all done clean. And then we have her articulation, which I will say the head joint is a little loose. It's probably, it's a ball hinge. Unfortunately, you don't get much out of it down to there, so that's nice. Up to there, oh, you get more than I thought. And then the swivel. I couldn't get all that far down before, but good. And then, yeah, we've already talked about the looseness there. So we have the upper body, which is painted well. It's this light brown plastic. The darker brown is painted on, and the white is painted on. And then we have disc hinges for shoulders that get you 90 degrees, just shy of 90 degrees. You have this softer plastic on the shoulder pads. I think you can manipulate them well enough to get the 90 degrees. I say we give it to her. And then they're just glued on. And then you get the swivel as well. No bicep swivel per usual. You do get the elbow hinge that gets you 90 degrees, maybe a bit more. If it is, it's just a taste. And then you have the gloves that are painted on, and you have these little silver bits that are painted on the gloves as well. The wrist swivel and hinge in out on this hand, and hinge up down on this hand. So options also. Unfortunately, you have two holding hands once again, and only one accessory to hold, so one hand always looks awkward and ridiculous. You have a single ball hinge here at the abdomen. It works fine enough. You do have this, which is part of the character design, so that's fine. This kind of gets in the way of full articulation. Not in the terms of the swivel, but just getting like the bit more of a lean over and stuff. And it is a softer plastic. I think they did the best they could. It just still ends up getting in the way a little bit. The brown is painted on. That's not done the best. It gets outside the lines a bit. And then we have the belt here. And I think this actually... Oh yeah, it is orange. So the belt is painted on, and then you have these floating pieces which are glued on. It might be all be part of it. Actually, this is all the same piece. Interesting. This top piece here is glued onto the pelvis, and then it has these which go around the legs, which are glued on. I like when they do stuff like that. I think it looks cool. Adds some texture and depth to the character, to the design. You know, gives it some layers and stuff. So I think that's cool. You have T-jointed ball joints for hips. They get you all the way out to there, and they're very well toleranced. This is the type of tolerance that a lot of people I think will say is loose, but it's not. It's just, it moves smoothly. It moves the way it's supposed to. And a really decent range as well. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, not the prettiest, but you get it. And then you have the boots, which are painted here, and then you have the ankle tilt all the way up, all the way down, and the rocker. The feet are little, so she does have a little bit of an issue standing, but it's not the worst, and she's a pretty well-executed figure. I wish they would have had like some of that wash. You know, the Black Series has kind of been known for adding more paint to their figures than most kind of 1/12 scale figures from, you know, major American toy companies. So I wish we would have got the wash here on her flight suit. But outside of that, I don't really have many complaints. So the holding hands is ridiculous as well. But yeah, it's pretty well done. Final thoughts-wise, the issues with these figures aren't issues with these figures. They're issues with Hasbro's approach with these figures. Stuff like the two holding hands with one accessory. Stuff like the lack of balance sometimes in the size of their feet. To be fair, Hera does stand fairly well, even given her small feet. But, you know, you gotta be a little cautious in how you do it. Not applying these new digital techniques that they're really breaking ground on to their most recent releases. Now, once again, like I said, it's probably because these figures were done and waiting in limbo. But still, it's hugely disappointing not to see it. All the stuff that you expect for these $20 figures, including the materials, which are just, you know, they are what they are. But the articulation and stuff, the paint for the most part, in terms of what was applied, not necessarily the paint style choicing, but how it was applied, is all done fairly well and clean. So I can definitely recommend Hera. She's really well executed. I can't recommend Kylo on good conscience. He's just not great. The sculpt work is fine. It's the paint execution and sort of display presence of the figure. Now, if you're nice with a paintbrush and you want to customize them, by all means have at it. in that sense, go ahead and pick him up. But I just think that the Figuarts Kylo is still the best option out there right now, even though it's not Episode 8 styled. It's still the most good looking and most well executed Kylo Ren out there. So that's where I recommend you spend your money in that regard. Definitely pick up the Hera if you're a fan of Rebels. If you don't care about Rebels or hate Rebels or whatever, then by all means pass. But yeah, and real quick, no skit today, but I do want to shout out those folks in Texas, and, you know, if there's anybody from that area that's watching, just stay safe and, you know, good luck. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.